This guy right here? Maybe, on your headphones, huh?
Yeah.
Is that where it's loud?
Yeah.
Here, is it? There you go.
There we go. There.
Yeah, it's loud on there. Sorry about that.
All right, no worries.
Hey, what's up, guys? Give me 1 second. We're going to go Facebook Live right now. Start this. And we're live all the way around, baby. If you're listening in on Spreaker.com, if you're watching on Facebook Live, we have Alex Soto in the building, baby. Alex, what's up, man?
What's up, Danny? Pleasure to be here.
Hey, we're happy to have you, man. So I'll tell you what, the first thing I want to bring up is this fight that you had. I know that I went to the gym and I was able to get some training in with you, and you told me about the fight, and it was only like 5 weeks out. How far out was the fight when you actually accepted it?
I heard about there was a possibility like 4 weeks out, and then about the third week, they ended up finding somebody. They were looking for a replacement. They found somebody. And I was like, oh, okay, good. I'm already like 170 pounds, anyways. I don't need to be fighting right now. And then apparently that opponent ended up pulling out. I guess he hurt himself. The replacement did.
Uh-huh.
So they called me again, and a week had gone by, and I said, all right, fine, let's do it. So I was 3 weeks out, 170 pounds, man.
3 weeks out, 170 pounds. I know you were talking to me about the fight, and you were excited. And This was definitely going to be your last fight for sure, or what was that? What was your thought process?
Well, I'm really focused on Brave. I'm focused on, everything that I'm working with it. Like right now, we're setting up our next event in Brazil, March 18th actually. And it's stacked fight card, man, and absolutely exciting for it. We have a team now, a really good team of talent relations with and matchmakers. I mean, we have as you guys know, Manolo Hernandez has been helping out a lot with the matchmaking. What we've done is combine two people from two different regions. When it comes to the Arab region, we have Yusuf Nasser, who's really helping us out, and he really knows the Arab guys. And we also have Manolo, who's helping up in Latin America, USA, and man, we're just building some awesome fights with Brave. Yeah. So anyways, I was getting ready for we kind of wrapped up that fight card, and then I got the call, and it was just perfect. That was a perfect timing for me to jump back in. I was motivated. My mind was, screwed on right for it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's get in it. Let's do this one more time.
Yeah, and you felt like you were there, and you felt like you were ready and all that. How did it feel actually, like, going out there again? And how long has it been since you've done that?
September of 2015 was my last fight. Before that, and that was a battle, man. That was I fought this kid named Ricky Simon, super tough guy from I think he's from Washington. Really good fighter, really good wrestling, and that's kind of like my Achilles,
Right.
So, he was able to control me and or take me down, several times when our hands got heated,
Yeah.
But it was a fun fight, and then it was a rough decision loss. So I didn't want to end it like that, I didn't want to end it that way because just because I was better than that, and I knew I was. And I said, you know what? Let's just do this right. Let's just get, the opponent was right. He was a really good striker who his nickname was Bang 'em Up. So he likes to stand and bang. And I was like, perfect, man. What a great way to go and go out just, hands blazing.
Yeah. And hold on real quick. I think we got an issue with this live feed because I can't seem to get it. Give us 1 second. My bad, Alex. Because this thing acts up sometimes. And my video must be 4 seconds long.
What happened? It cut up?
It's like it won't.
You gonna reset it?
Yeah, I'm gonna reset it because it's not registering that we're even live right now.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I don't see anything here.
Yeah, because when I went to go check it out, it wasn't popping up. So publish. I think if I wait too long to actually go live.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right. There we go. I think we're actually live now. I tagged you in it.
All right.
We'll see.
We're on it.
Damn, man. Hopefully.
Yeah, man. I don't even know if I can repeat that, man. That was...
No, it's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Some awesome.
Yeah, I know
knowledge.
you did.
No, I'm totally fucking you, man.
No, it's annoying because there we go.
Okay,
we're on now. I can see you now. So I'm gonna share it on my page.
All right.
Right post.
Let's see, where am I at? What's up, guys? I'm here with Danny.
All right, guys. All right. Hey, again, I don't know what's going on. We had the same issue last week, kind of. But if you guys are listening at home, we just started. We're only like 6 minutes into it. But I was talking to Alex Soto. He just had a fight. He just retired his last fight with Bellator. And we were talking about, it was like a last-minute fight that he took, and his fight before that. It was a loss that he wasn't really proud of. So now he got the chance to fight somebody that was actually going to stand and bang with him. What was his nickname again? The guy that you just fought?
Bang him up.
Bang him up.
DeMarcus Bang him up Brown.
DeMarcus Bang him up Brown, and you were excited about that because you got to actually put the work in. You prefer standing, or what's your thing?
The fight game. Now that I've been promoting fights and dealing more on the business side of the shows, I'm able to kind of like get the, it's like, dude, I want to put an exciting fight, and I've always wanted to do that, put something, I don't want to, hold this guy down or anything, so we decided to go in there and give it a farewell fight and make it exciting for the fans.
So it was definitely an exciting fight. I was there. A lot of the guys from 10th Planet San Diego were there, and
awesome.
Man, the first round, it seemed like you were feeling him out a little bit. It was it could have gone either way the first round, but then the second and third round you came out and you dominated. Your head movement was just, I was just watching. I was like, oh, and your leg kicks, you were destroying his legs.
Yeah.
Did you feel like Like, did you notice that he kept switching his stance? Did you feel like you knew you were dominating with your leg kicks? What was your thought process there with that?
Well, I mean, the whole thing, I had a 3-week training camp. So every time the bell rang, I was like, it's crazy, man. I've never had this because I'm always in really good shape. I got in there and the bell rang. I was like, man, do I have enough cardio to go this round?
Mm-hmm.
The second bell rang, do I have enough cardio for this? Third, I mean, it was always in the back of my mind. So, in that first round I actually even went for a takedown, and I realized, dude, I'm not going to be able to handle it. If I try to wrestle, I just don't have the cardio for this. But luckily, genetics, like I'm able to run a marathon and no problem, So I paced him out, and like you said, I was just kicking him, and yeah, I could see him switching stance. He didn't like those leg kicks.
He was grimacing. Was he grimacing at all? Was he?
He hit it very well at first, because I throw those leg kicks, and I know I hit hard. And one of the things that he does is he throws crazy wild kicks too. So I was concerned about his kicks, and but. I remember before the fight, and I watched a little bit of the film. I was like, oh, I can't wait till he throws that low leg kick at me, because when he does that, I'm going to check it so good and counter it, So, yeah, the first leg kick he threw at me, I checked the shit out of it, man. And he did not like it. I could see that. He didn't like that. But after that, I started playing his game, and I just started just leg chopping him, man, and just slowly breaking him down. His power fell dramatically because he couldn't plant on those feet anymore, and it was an easy fight after that.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. We went to Roscoe's after the fight, and he was there, and he was just limping. He was just, every step he took. He said what's up to Manolo. Manolo said what's up to him, and we just looked at, like, everybody got quiet. We were like, just watching him walk by, But he's a competitor. Somebody wins and somebody loses.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes, and you prevailed. You had a game plan. You went in there and you executed, and it was obvious. Especially after the first round, like you really looked like a completely different fighter in the second and third round.
Yeah, no, I don't know why this happened to me, but it happens to me almost in every fight where I'm just kind of like, let me feel this guy out, and all right, then I have to get hit. For whatever reason, I have to get hit, and then it wakes me up, and then I'm like, okay, here we go. We're in a fight. I gotta move my head. which my coach, of course, hates,
Yeah.
but but on top of that, I got to tell you though, DeMarcus Brown, he's a really good fighter. He throws hard, man, and he some of those punches, were kind of hard.
Yeah.
Did hurt, but he's a young. I got him young, and he's got a good career ahead of him, and he's just gonna. I'm sure he learned a lot from this fight, and he's gonna come back and tear up the division.
Absolutely. Did you ever get a chance to talk to him like hey man, maybe when you're ready, come over to Brave and fight for us?
Actually I didn't, but I would totally put him in Brave. He likes to stand and bang, and he puts up an exciting fight. All of his fights are very exciting to watch.
Right.
And that's what we're looking for in Brave. So. But I got to talk to him before the weigh-ins, man. Super nice guy, by the way.
Right.
DeMarcus Brown, he's like very scary looking individual because he's got all the tattoos and everything. He's all ripped up, and I'm just like, oh man, okay, what's up? And he's like really soft spoken, really nice, like most fighters are, So, it was really cool.
I noticed the standoff. I know you guys kind of went head to head with the standoff. What happened there? Did he come and because I didn't see it, but somebody said something where he had came at you and you snatched your hat off and came back. What was that about?
So what happened there was he ended up calling me. So we're talking backstage, right? And everything's cool and chilling and everything. And he goes, hey man, just so you know, I'm not gonna shake your hand when we're at the weigh-ins, man. All right. So no disrespect, but this is what's going to happen. And I'm like, oh, all right. You want to make it rough then? All right. You want to do the show then? Let's do this then. So he was like, oh, yeah, sure. So then when we went on stage, I ended up kind of outdoing him. So I just got his face, threw my hat down, said, let's go. It's funny because Scott, was it Coker or... he's the promoter.
The promoter for Bellator.
He ends up, hey guys, come down.
Guy, right?
Yeah, the bald guy. Yeah. He goes, guys, relax, man. This is no one's getting paid. And I was like, hey, this is just part of the show. And he's like, oh. Okay. So it was cool, man. Yeah, but like I said, man, it was entertaining and it's fun, and but it's still at the end of the night, we still have two guys step in the cage and they throw down. So. Yeah,
you got to get that work in. You got to go to war, and it's, that's just what it is.
But it's all fun and game up until, you get there. And then it's life and death. And
it's a part of the thing, right? I tell people, MMA is like the movies, the television show Spartacus. You seen Spartacus?
Yeah.
When they're the gods of the arena, and it's an honor to die on these sands. You know what I mean? That's how fighters look at it in the cage. Even if it's a guy that you're cool with or you hate, at the end of the day, it's it's respect, but we're gonna bang, we're gonna fight, So
exactly.
It's definitely barbaric, but it's a respectful form of barbaricness.
I guess, I mean, it's the purest thing of a manly thing to do, I guess. Or just a human nature. Because now we got girls doing it.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? Even at its purest form, there's never in my life a better feeling that I've had, a better feeling of accomplishment than being victorious in the cage, and just knowing I just fucking won and I put all this work in, it's like an overwhelming feeling of emotion, and that's just at the amateur level, you know what I mean? At any level of fighting, it was like an incredible rush. Just being in there, but winning is the ultimate feeling of
it really is, man. It really is an amazing feeling. I mean, for me, it was kind of very emotional because it was my last fight, and I had announced that, and I went in there, and when the fight was over, I was, I knew I had won the fight, but you never know with the judges, you know, so I didn't care. I didn't care if the judges gave it to the other guy or didn't give it to me or called it a draw or whatever it was. I was just happy that I got in there and I fought my heart out. And then when my hand got raised and they called me, they announced me as the winner. It was this rush of emotion because knowing that I'm not gonna do this again, knowing that I was damn, this is my last one, and I had so much fun. And but it's good, man. I'm moving on to bigger and other fights, man. Other fights in this life, you know. So I'm happy I did it.
Do you really feel like that was the last one? Would you take another one? Would you do another fight?
Dude, that it would have to be the best circumstances, you know.
Yeah.
It takes so much time away from my family.
Yeah,
you know, my
true.
wife and kids, you know, like. The dieting, like we had a ton of like get-togethers with the family, and I couldn't, it was just back to the same old grind as before.
Yeah.
Or you're sacrificing time, you're sacrificing, a lot of holidays and all that stuff, and it just brought me back, and it's just like to me, it's as much fun as that was, and as much as the glory of all of it, it's just not worth time away from my kids,
Right.
Which already with my job, I'm always traveling, I'm always going to different parts of the world, and I would hate to put that on top of that with my kids,
Yeah, that makes sense, and I mean it's rough, but you've done it long enough, How many years have you been fighting now since your first fight? How many years has it been now?
I turned professional in 2009.
2009.
That was my first professional fight. So since then, how many years is that now?
It's like almost 8 years now, right?
Yeah,
8 years. 2017.
And really, I've had like kind of a really crazy career because I fought in all these organizations, and it's I don't know. I've been very blessed. I've been very lucky, man. Very fortunate. I became the champion in Mexico. And then from there, it just kind of like it blossomed, man. I went to and fought in Japan. I fought in the UFC. I fought in Bellator. Now it's evolved into help promoting fights now around the world. I'm heading to Brazil. It's like this whole thing really went from nothing to something really, really big.
Right, right. And that's exactly what it's all about. Because everybody that started somewhere, or that is somewhere, started from nothing, Right. So essentially, that's the climb. That's the American dream. That's the plan. Anytime you want to do something, is you're going from nothing to something. You know what I mean? You're starting with no dollars, and you're trying to get as much money as you can get, or you're starting with no fame, and you're trying to be in a movie eventually, or you're starting as hitting the bag at your local LA Fitness, and you eventually want to be a UFC champion, a UFC Hall of Fame, or go to Bellator, fight for Brave. So to me, that's really what life is all about, and it's the climb and it's the chase, and there's everything in between, there's family, there's ups, there's downs, you have kids, like I recently have kids, and there's a lot that life has to offer, but without a challenge, then it's not really worth it, you know what I mean? And without the struggle, it's not really worth it, that's kind of a part of the process.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, you can be, it's funny, there's like individuals that are like born rich, right? Like they can have anything in the world that they want, and there's no fight for it, there's no gratification, So, for instance, like Sheikh Khalid, who's the owner of Brave, who founded Brave, he's part of the royal family in the Kingdom of Bahrain, and now he's training. He's working really hard, and he's getting in fights, amateur fights, and he's working his way up. And I think that's what fills him, and I think that's what kind of motivates him to work and get it. And there's nothing more pure, like you said, than fighting. Yeah. Because that's just hard work and demonstrating it, And so he's out there leading by example, man. Like getting his work in, and even though he has everything that he can have in his world, he doesn't need to fight. But he's doing it. He's struggling. He's putting work in, and now, bam. Yeah. He's proving that it works, man.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because people who do come up like kind of privileged, there are people who are born into wealth. I'm from Connecticut, right? So like a lot of people that aren't from Connecticut don't really know. Connecticut's like the richest state in the United States. It's also the smallest one, but it's because the small parts of Connecticut have a lot of money. There are also slums in Connecticut. There's Norwalk, Connecticut, parts of Stamford, Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut. These are all like minority. Majority is minority. Majority of the population in these cities are minority, and it's not like Bridgeport. I think Bridgeport and New Haven, Connecticut has been in like the top 25 most dangerous cities for like the past 5 years or something like that. You know, and so you're talking about two cities in the same state that's probably one of the smallest states in the country, but it's also the richest state in the country. So it's a weird place. But I was fortunate enough to come up where I saw that. You know, like my parents worked really hard. You know, I didn't come from poor, but my parents had to work really hard to give me what I had. Yeah. You know, but I saw like poor, and I also saw rich, wealthy. Yeah. You know, and like the difference in the two and being in that environment really showed me that, you know, you can have this or you can have that. At the end of the day, you can have everything you want and you can have fucking nothing. At the end of the day, you still have to work to make it anywhere. Right. You know, there has to be some level of work. But the people that are privileged, that have money, I noticed that like they don't have to work as hard for certain things. So like it makes sense when they choose to fight, right? Like what was his name again?
Sheikh Khalid.
Sheikh Khalid. Him choosing to fight. Fighting is the like purest form of success, because in anything else in life, a normal job, you know, there's like politics behind it, and like a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know, and it's easy to just make it. You know, my dad owns the company, so it's gonna be my company. When it comes to fighting, like you can't bullshit your way around it. You know, when you get in there, it's you and somebody else. Yep. And at the end of the day, if you didn't put the work in, you can't point the finger at anybody else but yourself. You know, so it's either instant gratification or instant understanding that you're the reason why you failed. And even in team sports, right? Like when it comes to team sports, you have to like. You know, you work together. In football, it's easy to be like a linebacker and say, well, if the quarterback didn't throw those interceptions, you wouldn't have lost. I didn't miss my tackles. This guy did this. It's easy to point the finger. Yeah. And that's what I liked about wrestling in high school was you don't have that option in wrestling or fighting or any type of combat sports. You just don't have the luxury to point the finger and blame somebody else. At the end of the day, that's what it is, you know. It's on you or it's the opponent. Yeah, you know, it's you guys in there scrapping it out.
That's truth, man. Straight up.
So I noticed next you said March 18th was Brave MMA's next thing. So talk to us. You talked to us before. I think we were on like episode 4 or 5 with you, and we talked before about Brave MMA. Talk to us a little bit about how it's grown since the first Brave, and what you guys are looking for in the future. What's coming up?
Well, right now we're kind of we're branching out. We're getting out of our comfort zone. So we're leaving the Kingdom of Bahrain for March. We're heading out to Brazil to basically, you know, where all some of the best athletes from around the world, you know, they live. So we're especially in the industry of MMA. So we're heading down there. We're getting some amazing athletes. We already signed a bunch of guys that were incredible. Let me just see. We have we have the return of Thiago Vieira, who fought in he headlined our first card. We have Julio Cesar Neves, 32-1.
32-1. Where's he from?
From Brazil.
From Brazil.
Yeah, this is a Brazil. These are the ones that I'm naming off of the Brazilian guys. I mean, we have the return of Alex Lecco. I mean, 32-1, man.
That's crazy.
And the guy's only like 22, 23 years old.
Really?
Young guy. I mean, these guys they dedicate their lives to just destroying guys. So, you know, so I don't know. We're super excited to have these guys. We have a lot of great fighters that are coming up. My connections with the Mexican community or the Mexican fighting community, I was able to bring in the return of Ivan Lopez, who's I believe he's 14-2, an incredible flyweight. Mm-hmm. He's gonna take on a very tough Brazilian out there in Marcelo Dor. So that's going to be a very exciting flyweight matchup. I'm really excited to see that. We have one of the guys that I'm really excited about here as well. We have the return of Daniel Swain, who took on Alex Lecco last fight. Okay, and Daniel Swain came in on a 4 weeks notice fight. Like he was telling me he was 180 pounds coming into this bout. So he came in, dropped weight, last minute, took on Alex Lecco.
What do you weigh in at?
He actually made weight at 145.
From 180 to 145.
In 4 weeks.
In 4 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, the guy came in.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. And he takes on this fight against Alex Lecco, Alex Lecco at the time was 17 wins, 0 losses, never been to the third round, all finishes. And so Daniel Swain comes in. I figured, Daniel Swain is a very good veteran. I think he's 14 or 16-4. I mean, he's been up and down, taking fights. He'll fight anybody, any place.
Yeah.
So clearly, right? So he comes in and he puts a whooping on him, on Alex Lecco for the first 3-4 minutes. I mean, it was a complete wrestling clinic, man. And then he goes in there and he gasses out. So he loses his gas, and then Lecco takes advantage, being the younger fighter. Very explosive, and then finishes Daniel Swain. So we decided with the matchmakers, let's bring Daniel Swain back in, and let's take him out and give him a full training camp, and let's see what he's got. So he's got a really, really, really tough fight coming up in Brazil. In Curitiba, Brazil, so it's gonna be awesome.
But this time he has a full fighting camp, so we'll see.
I want to see him. Yeah, I want to see him with a full training camp, and let's see what he's got.
Right.
Give him another chance. So I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's gonna be an action-packed night of fights, huh?
Oh yeah. Basically, I'm bringing also in Weil Watson, who's also a training partner of mine. Uh-huh. He had a really tough fight in the last one. I think he was just caught early, really caught really early in a submission. He's my friend, and I wanted to give him another opportunity to get in there and prove himself, because he's an amazing fighter, man.
Yeah.
I've known him for a long time.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast as well before that fight. He was talking about he was really excited, and he said, and I've talked to him. He's ready to go. Whenever. He's a very upbeat person.
Yeah.
Even after a loss, he was right back in the gym, right back to training, and just ready. He's like, I'm ready for the next thing.
Yeah. And that's what a martial artist does, man. They go in there, they fight. They learn from their mistakes. Weil learned from his mistakes that what he did, and he's getting back at it. And so I'm excited to see him. It was a while before he had fought. And I think he just was that rust. You know what I mean? That first minute rust. I mean, it takes you. So now that he's fresh, let's put him right back in. Let's see what he's got. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to have him back.
I'm excited. Where can we watch it? I know it's online, and I know last fight a lot of people were saying that they were having issues with the feed.
Yep.
So where can they actually watch it at online?
So we're gonna have it available. So right now we're in a lot of, I think we're in 50 different countries. That would be on broadcasted too. But you can also watch it if you're outside of those countries. Usually they're in Asia. We're going to be broadcasting them in Brazil. But if you're not in Brazil or not in Asia, you can come to bravefights.com and come check it out. We'll have it live on our YouTube channel. And so just subscribe to our YouTube channel, bravefights.com, and man.
So it's free. They can log in and just watch it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything.
You don't have to pay nothing. Just get on there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you're ready to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be, like I said, don't want to miss this. We're just getting started. This is only going to be our third one, and already we were nominated for one of the top promotions in the world. So we're coming up, man. We're coming up really, really fast. And with the support of Sheikh Khalid, the founder for Brave Combat Federation, now we got Brazil. We got some interesting talks. We're going to Abu Dhabi, and we're going to possibility. There's talks about India and a lot of other very, very, very interesting places.
Nice. So the goal with Brave MMA, I know, how are you guys able to expand to other countries? Is that what you guys are looking to do, to constantly just be moving country to country? What's if I were to describe it to somebody, right, what would you say sets Brave MMA apart from, everybody here thinks, UFC is the top, it's the best organization to fight for, and it's the most well known, it's not necessarily the best one, you know what I mean? And people who aren't really into MMA like that don't understand that. So what sets Brave apart from all these other organizations?
Well, one of the things that we do right now, there's basically no promotions that are really pushing the Arab athlete. There's the UFC is doing it a little bit, but really The UFC is just right now has expanded so much. I think they're just having trouble really. I mean, catching up with who's fighting who. Except for of course they have the brand recognition. They have the best athletes around the world. What Brave is doing, what we're doing differently is we're building our own stars. We're building our own brand. We're not competing against the UFC. We're not trying to compete against any other organization. You're right. Our organization is unique in the sense that we're building our own brand, and we have fighters that are up and coming guys that you've never heard of, guys that are amazing athletes that we're picking out from different places from around the world. I mean, I got guys from Pakistan, Philippines. I mean, can you name me a couple of famous UFC Filipino fighters? Brandon Vera, I guess maybe.
Right. I mean, there's maybe one or two. And when I say nobody off the top of my head that I can think of.
What about any famous Arab fighters that you can think of? I can tell you right now, Brave Combat Federation has the best Arab fighters on the planet. So I'm considering all the promotions. Man.
And the only one that I can think of, because he was my Muay Thai instructor at one point, but he's from, I know he was born in France or raised in France, but Mehdi Baghdad, I think, and he was at Brave. He was at Brave the last one. He was there and he did a little. He was talking to the camera and stuff like that. But that he's the only one that I can really think of. Other than that, there's no. I mean,
there's really. I mean, and I can tell you, Baghdad, he's a great fighter and everything, but he doesn't come close to what we have right now. We have Muhammad Fakhruddin, who's probably hands down the best welterweight. We have on lightweight with Abdul Karim Sawadi, who's a huge draw in the Middle East, man. And he's a great athlete, man. Talk about the guy's ripped, he's joked, and he's also just phenomenal on the ground. Great stand-up. I mean, destroyed his last opponent, made him look like a chump, who was actually a good fighter, And so, I mean, not only that, but the different types of connections. The Philippines connections is through Manolo, I have the connection with the Mexican guys down in Tijuana and in Mexico. I mean, we have some of the best athletes coming out of Mexico, and we have them signed. I mean, one of the best secrets in there is Ivan Lopez, the flyweight. Man, the guy's been tested. He's gone to decision with Dominic Cruz. And he's he tore his two losses. One was against Dominic Cruz, and he was putting a whooping on him on a stand-up battle before Dominic Cruz decided to start wrestling. But he's improved a lot since then. And then he has another loss, and he tore his knee in that fight, and still went to decision with this guy. So there's a possibility of maybe doing a rematch with that fight now that we're going down to Brazil again. So there's a lot of very interesting matches that we have coming up for him. But I mean, also in India, not to mention our Indian connection with Mohammed Shahid, who's the CEO of Brave Combat Federation. He's our connection with India. I mean, like, together we've kind of assembled a really good team of guys from really unknown areas or untapped areas when it comes to martial arts.
Right, and you get to bring them in and give them exposure. A lot of these guys aren't getting exposure. Some of the best fighters in the world, like, you don't even know who they are, right. Because they're not fighting on UFC, you know what I mean? But they're still, like, they're destroyers, and they're training every day and they're working every day. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see this next Brave and where Brave goes from here, So you guys, you mentioned something. So you're going to Brazil. You talked about Abu Dhabi. You talked about maybe going to India. Are there other places that you'd like to eventually go to that you see some friction?
Yeah, I mean, another place that I want to go that makes complete sense is Mexico. I'd love to bring a Brave event down to Mexico. The crowd there, they love the sport. There's a huge there's a huge demand for MMA down in Mexico, and really, I mean, there's really nobody coming down there. I think just people are afraid to go down there. People are just unsure, maybe. I don't know if they're afraid, but they're just not sure. Everybody's kind of timid. I know Mexico very well. And I think that's what I think would be a possibility. Hopefully, doing that this year. But of course, that's up to the decision of Mohammed Shahid and see what he wants to do. And but that for me, that'll be a dream come true for me. It's bringing it down to Mexico and bringing some Arab fighters down there. It'd just be unique to see, when you see Arab fighters against Mexican fighters, or Latin American fighters going up against Pakistanis. It's a nice blend and a very interesting matchup from really fighters from all over the world.
Right. And where do you fall exactly? Because I've heard you describe this second in command, right? So is it the CEO and then you? Like how does that whole structure work with that?
Well, it's not. We're a team, right? So whatever it is that needs to get done when regards to anything, I'm not here pointing, commanding, and doing all these things. You know what I mean? Like, it really is a group of guys that are passionate about the sport. I mean, you got Manolo, who Yusuf Nasser, who you haven't met yet, but he's an incredible individual and very smart. And he's very passionate about the sport. I didn't think, at first when I met him, I was like, okay, but this guy loves the sport. And Muhammad Shahid, the guy just 24 hours a day, the guy is on, and all his life is MMA. And then we also have Sheikh Khalid, who loves the sport, enjoys watching it, is excited about every fight we put up. So we're a big team, that we're working together to try to accomplish, Sheikh Khalid's vision to just kind of like go where nobody's going. Build a new road, and change the industry. So we're kind of like all working together, man. It's really not like I'm the second in command.
Right. So it's a group of guys, and you all are on the same page about everything. You just communicate. Do you guys have like meetings? Do you guys do like video conferences to communicate with each other? Like, how is all of this organized? I know it's probably like a lot of people are curious about that.
Really? Yeah. No. So basically, I wake up usually 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I'm up till 9 a.m. Just either on meetings, discussing contracts with new fighters, with new athletes. Who do we get? There's a huge filtering process of who do we get. There's not. I mentioned that I bring in a Brazilian fighter versus a guy from Pakistan. Pakistan's not really known for having the best fighters, right? So we have everybody with extensive knowledge of MMA. This guy, can he handle this Brazilian fighter? How are you gonna make it work? It's like, you don't want it to be a squash match, match. So, we go through a lot of changes. I think I've changed the date for Brazil like 5-6 different times. Working with our team in Brazil. So we have a lot of support, a lot of meetings, a lot of stuff that we do to make it work, but. We end up, at the end of the day, we ended up pulling off a great show with great matches. Yeah,
and that's pretty dope. I know a lot of people, it's like, as a kid, right? I used to watch TV, right? And I'd always wonder how the fuck does this TV work? That'd always be in my mind. How do they get this thing to work? You know what I'm saying? People, Joe Rogan has a joke about it. How does this fucking microphone work? I don't fucking know. Do you know? If all the smart people died, how would we figure this shit out? But I'm always thinking about that. How do things work? Because I think a lot of people forget about the administrative and the logistical process behind planning something out. Yeah. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, getting people to work together and interact and communication. And the biggest thing in anything, if you can plan a trip with fucking friends, right?
Yeah. And that's crazy.
That'll fall through because of communication issues. Well, I thought we were meeting yesterday, and then you never called. So so I can only imagine what it's like, because you have people that are out in Bahrain who are running it, people over here that are running it, and you're trying to organize an event that's going to happen in Brazil, but then you got fighters from different countries. So I'd imagine it's a lot of fucking puzzle pieces trying to put that shit together is a mess.
It is, and it's complicated, man. I start off with the first Brave show, man, not knowing what the hell we were doing, and then the thing is, we learn really fast. You get on there, what needs to be done. Okay, let's make it better. Let's make it better every time. This time, now that we finally got close up those loops up in Bahrain. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to Brazil, so that's gonna throw in another curveball to us, our way. But we've linked up with the guys from Astra MMA. And they do shows all the time out there. So we basically have those guys helping us out with all the coordinating with the commissions, with the cage setup, with the sponsorship. Mm-hmm. So basically, we're just communicating with those guys. All right, this is what we expect. This is what we want, and let's make it happen. So that's how we're working out Brave right now, and it's working out great so far, man. It's been. Let me tell you, we don't like to work with douchebags. So we get together with guys that we enjoy working with, because basically, man, this is fun. Right. There's no stress on this. This is a fun gig. I mean, we have the ability to put in some exciting fights, and we're enjoying. If you're a douchebag, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy what you do, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you gotta love it, regardless if it's a mess. Like I know. Like with Epic Fighting, right? The amateur promotion out here.
Yeah.
I got to be a part of the behind the scenes with the last one, because I did some commentating with them, and I watched how they set everything up, and it's they have this handful of guys that are working, and Harvey, the matchmaker, he's so stressed out all the time up until the fight start. He has people, guys who can't make weight, guys who can't make the weigh-in, people are dropping out last minute. How do you make this card happen? I can only imagine the stress. But it's worth it in the end. Once those first fights start and everything's working, it's probably
dude, once that first fight, it's I can't wait till that first fight starts, man. Because after that, it's really smooth. I lost both of my first two shows. We lost the main event. So on the week before. So I mean, you talk about being stressed out, man. Fuck, what are we gonna do now?
Right.
But it just happens, man. And as a fighter myself, I understand that these things happen. You got to be ready for it. And one of the things that I tell the matchmakers too is hey guys, we're probably gonna lose the main event. So let's not trip out on this. Let's get guys on standby. Let's be prepared for this, and we've been very lucky and very fortunate to have the two the co-main events guys step up and perform and do one hell of a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's only been two so far, right? There's been two Braves, right?
Two, yeah.
And then both of them, the main events have kind of fell out. So did you bump up the co-main event? How did you handle that?
Yeah. So basically we popped up we just moved up the co-main events, and they were just as good, man. Our first one was it was Thiago Vieira was going to take on Mohamed Fakhreddin, the number one welterweight coming out of the Middle East, out of that region. He ends up Fakhreddin ended up tearing his knee. Pulls that right before the week of, while he was going on a run. I guess he rolled his ankle and tore his knee, and that was it. And then we also had our first championship fight at featherweight. We had our Mexico's own Macio Fullen, and he was going to take on Iraq's Alan Omar, two former UFC guys,
right? Two
top veterans. And Alan Omar gets a huge gash, an accidental headbutt in his eye. Nasty, man. It was terrible.
It sucks when shit like that happens, especially in training camp when little things happen. You hear it all the time where maybe people are rolling and then they'll roll into somebody else and hurt themselves. It's really frustrating, but I can imagine how that affects the planning process with everything.
And, it's just part of it, man. It's just part of the show, man. It just you're gonna lose that, especially when you're throwing bones at each other, and, in training. It's just expected, I expect hopefully the next one not to happen, but you know what I mean. It's gonna happen. It's gonna continue to happen until fighters start to train smart.
It's kind of the expect plan for the. What is it? Plan for the worst, but expect the best, right?
Exactly.
That mentality is in everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But man, when you're planning for something like that happens, you got to find somebody. Do you have fighters on standby? Do you have people hey, listen, just in case this falls out, be ready.
I got guys that are willing to fight anybody, anytime, anyplace, anywhere. So,
right.
I tell the guys, so you have a passport? Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. Then I'll keep you in mind for this one, man. I'm going to lose the fight. I know it. So as soon as I lose a fight, I'm gonna call you. So be ready.
Yeah.
So I tell that to every guy that I see that just didn't quite make the card. I'll let them know. Listen, man, you're not on the card, but I'm gonna lose one. I'm gonna put you in. So, but man, we still have to go through that process. And it's just smart to do it that way.
Right.
But until then, man, like. Fighters gotta train smart. They gotta train with their heads, and not try to kill themselves.
And we were talking a little bit earlier before the podcast about, like fighters that with the mentality that I'll fight anybody, or fighters with that like hungry mentality and things like that. What is it that you look for, like to have somebody on a card? Like what do you like to see fighters? The type of mentality that a fighter needs to fight for you. What would you say it is?
Well, there's a lot of things, man. But number one, like this is a sport, right? And absolutely, it's a sport. But at the same time, we need. I'm on the promotion side of this thing. I want to see exciting fights.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can have 50 wins, but if you just lay and pray, I'm never gonna call you. Like it's just never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I want guys that put it on the line, guys that aren't afraid to lose, guys that are stepping up and fighting. Some of the guys that I've signed have been coming off of losses, but it's because I like what I see when they're fighting. It's entertainment, and I want to see exciting fights. Each one of the fights, I want the CEO to be excited about it. I want the CEO to say like, yes, man, this fight's going to be so exciting. So if you're an exciting fighter, and we're gonna find you, but if you're just some lame wrestler that just, holds people down.
Yeah, you're going out there looking for the decision,
for the decision, exactly, man. I want finishes, man. Like, people want to see that. And if you got what it takes, man, then we want to put you on there.
Yeah, you see that, and that's pretty dope because I seen a video, right, and it was a video of man, what's his name, Tyrone Woodley, right?
Oh yeah.
And Tyrone Woodley was saying that even though he's a champion, he's not getting the fights that he wants, and this and that, and he compared himself to some people, and he tried to say that it was like. He made a comment alluding to it being like a race thing, like I'm not getting promoted because I'm not white, and I don't know, it frustrated me like hearing that because it's like all these other fighters, like they're out there and they're like talking shit, you know what I mean? And like they're like literally putting everything on the line from a verbal standpoint, like if I tell the whole world that I'm unbeatable and I'm unstoppable and I'm gonna fuck you up and I'm talking all this shit, like I'm putting it all on the line because I'm risking losing and being proven wrong and being fucking embarrassed.
Right,
you know what I mean? And like he was comparing himself to like Conor McGregor, and I think that Conor McGregor just sells himself a lot better than Tyrone Woodley does, and I think that's what it comes down to. And a lot of people, they don't want to see the truth for what it is, and you got to go out there, you got to make those risks, you got to go out there and you got to talk the shit, especially in this sport, because that's what people want to see.
That's why Conor McGregor's making 20 mil or whatever, because that guy sells, but that's kind of crazy because it kind of works against all the martial arts, right? Where it's all about respect and, and honor and all that everybody grows up with in the martial arts, but you're in a sport where it's entertainment, and you have to market yourself. It's your brand, man. And if you do it right, I got fighters right now. I got this guy from Mexico, Alejandro Martinez. He wants to fight this guy from Lebanon.
Okay.
And or Jordan. I'm sorry. He's calling this guy out from Jordan, and this guy from Jordan's like, "I'll kill you," and it's like it's fun. I'm having a great time looking at all the social media, and they're back and forth, and the people in Jordan are going crazy about it.
Right.
Like, they want to kill this guy. They want to kill Alejandro, man. They want to smash this, and now people want to see that fight,
right?
And that makes me want to put this fight together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes it so much easier for me. But it's like I said, it's all in good fun, but when you get in the cage, man, it's life and death.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because I've seen articles about that too. I've read up on, like how martial arts is kind of losing the respect for them. Like, for instance, jiu-jitsu, what's happening in the jiu-jitsu community. Now people are making a lot of money in the sport of jiu-jitsu. You go to a tournament and you're competing and EBI, I think the last one was like $40,000, you know what I mean, for the winner.
Yeah.
And now you see a lot of trash talk, a lot of shit talk going back and forth in martial arts, and it is contradictory to the intent of martial arts, right? Because like you said, the respect and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, when there's money on the line and it comes down to now it's a form of entertainment, and you kind of have to sell it because people don't want to always see, the respect. People, you need a bad guy.
Right.
If I was gonna make a movie and try to get you to watch the movie, and there was no peak, there was no part where it pissed you off, there was no part where Bambi died, you know what I mean? If there was no death of Bambi part, it wouldn't really interest you. It's a good movie, it's a good message, but there's no.
We need to put eyes on the screen, man.
Yeah.
By the way, Alejandro Martinez wants to fight Hassan Kyokushin from Jordan. I guess he's an Iraqi.
Okay.
So anyway, so this is going on, and he says, "I'm going to kill you and send you to hell. Send my regards there to my previous opponents."
Oh, okay.
Man.
All right, talking shit.
Yeah, so I'm having a blast because these guys are just one, making my job easier, and it's exciting to watch. I mean, these guys they're starting to brew some sort of hate, which is hilarious. But when it comes to it, at the end of the night, when one or the other guy gets his hands raised, there's still respect at the end. You know what I mean? It's just
and that's dope. Like you said, it makes your job easy. It's like the crock pot method. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there and having to cook the steak, you just throw it all in the crock pot and turn it on and you walk away.
Yeah.
They're making it easy for you, man. You just got to open the lid. You're gonna start eating soon. That's pretty dope. That's really interesting. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that I heard a rumor about, and I can see how there would be a lot of controversy about it, is Brave MMA having women fighting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. We almost had a women fighting for Brave in the Brazil card. We just didn't have... I think there was some contract issues with the girl that we were talking to. Very, very, very interesting. I can't use her name. I won't reveal who she was. But she would have been a great addition to Brave. Yeah, no, there's no controversy in this. Man, I want to see if you're a badass woman fighter.
Right. I'm
gonna put you there.
Right.
Or if you talk shit to somebody,
Yeah.
Or if if you're exciting to watch, I'm gonna put you on there. I don't care, male or female, man. And it's the same thing. Shahid doesn't care. He'll put on some girls on there. But we have to get the first one. You know what I mean? We gotta get the right one to get on there. And we're not just gonna throw some whatever. I want it to be an awesome girl to get in there and step in there and break some bones.
Yeah, and I mean, what I had heard about the controversy, and it's not like Brave MMA doesn't want girls, but just because of Brave MMA starting in Bahrain and being able to do it in those Arab countries would be a huge no-go because of the cultural belief in those cities. So if you did do it, it wouldn't be an issue, but you would have to do it in Brazil or in Mexico or something like that.
So it's funny, there's this misconception, right, when it comes to this stuff. Man, I mean, you look at you look at the United States, for instance, right? I guess we're a majority Christian country, right? Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? There's not going to be any strippers here. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
It's kind of that perspective. Turn it on yourself. Look at yourself.
Yeah.
And it's they're human. And it's.
That's true. That's like being dude, America is a bunch of Christian. There's no cocaine over there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
And that's kind of the another, kind of what Brave is kind of the ambassador to the Middle East. And so Brave not only hosts fights out there, but it also, kind of introduces people to Bahrain and the Middle East, and in that Arab culture that everybody's just kind of terrified, and
right.
Like especially right now, right? I mean, what's going on here in the States? Like
there's a bunch of craziness going on.
It's kind of sad, and I think the world needs something like Brave, and where we're kind of introducing people, reaching out to, and showing the culture and seeing that, dude, it's not like this, you know what I mean? It's not what your perception is, but we are definitely a big cultural shift in the country, putting up MMA fights. So we're with the help of Sheikh Khalid, we really are kind of addressing this new kind of like approach, in fighting, in martial arts, because at the end of the day, it's a respectful thing, and it's not like some sort of crazy thing where I mean, it was illegal in New York just last year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
that's true.
I mean, that's how crazy our perception is to the Middle East.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, I heard that from somebody. I wasn't sure how true it is. I mean, I've been to the Middle East, and I could see how that would be the case, but that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I wasn't sure how true it was, But it's definitely something interesting that I heard, and it's going to be interesting to see when women do start fighting in Brave MMA, because the women just started fighting in MMA when
4 years ago.
4 years ago,
when Anna came in.
So it's and now you have a lot of women transitioning from like strictly Muay Thai, like strictly judo, strictly jiu-jitsu. Yep. Women are starting to transition, so it's going to be really something to see. I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm excited to watch it, man. I'm going to turn to the real quick. We had a couple comments. Hey, Rob Warren, yeah, we are live. No, you're not tripping. He said, I like the bike background. Yeah, that's Alex helped me set up. He got here, he saw the bike. He's like, bro, we got to incorporate this somehow. So we started a little bit late because I was like, that's a good idea. So we changed up the setup, and I like this. I like the way it looks. We got a couple. Alejandro Martinez, he threw up the peace sign. All right, peace, brother. And then keep it up, brother. Thanks. We'll keep it up. He's talking to you, I guess. Keep up the good work with Brave MMA. Right. What I wanted to ask you next was, so what's the future looking like, right? Like, so what is something that Brave MMA is like a milestone that you have for Brave MMA as of right now?
Man, the milestone. I think we're just trying to get even more mainstream. One of the milestones is we want to change the industry. So we want to change how fighters are being treated. I mean, you got fighters. I mean, you got NFL players, you have professional football players or soccer players making millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
And the lowest paid athlete on a football team makes how much?
On a football team?
Yeah.
Easily a couple mil.
A couple mil, right?
Easily.
I mean, we want to do that, man. We want to take it to the level where we have professional athletes making that kind of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a milestone, man, to hit, but we want to change that industry. I want fighters to come and rush to fight for us. Come and because they know that with us they're going to get treated right. They're going to be able to make a living. They're going to be able to to actually take care of themselves. I mean, when I first started, I made $50, in my fight. There's just no way. I mean, as you know, there's no money in MMA.
Right.
There's zero money. But the entertainment business is killing it. I mean, UFC's making millions upon millions on top of what they're making. And it's a business at the end of the day, and we have to just make it right. This promotion is built on fighters. Fighters built this promotion, and we want to be able to change the industry, change this shit where fighters aren't making any money. You know what I mean? So let's bring it up. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I'm with that. And it's funny because when I was actually on the way to your fight, it was last week, right? Last weekend?
Yeah.
Last weekend on the way to your fight, I was actually riding with my girl and Chris Stanley. I was talking to her about that.
Yeah.
You know, about like
love Chris Stanley, buddy.
Hey, she's dope as fuck. I've seen her. I've seen her around. You know, obviously, I've seen her like on pages, people that I follow and stuff like that. And I follow her on Facebook, but I never really had a conversation with her. So the 2-hour ride or so up to LA, we were just talking about that, and like, I'm always interested in hearing about that stuff, and who is it that represents the martial artists in general? You know what I mean? Like, who is there? Somebody like who do you bring these issues up with? Like, is it a fighters union that needs to happen, or is it somebody in up in Washington D.C. that like represents the sport of MMA, that is speaking for the MMA fighters? Like, who is that? Who's doing that? Is there something even in place like that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, you hear about fighters doing the fighters union. It's just kind of like dark and confusing, and like, I don't know, man. I really have no idea which way to go about that here in the States. In the States has very, very there's some very strong regulations set up for all that kind of stuff, you know? And it's very complicated with the sport of MMA, because it's not like you're fighting every weekend. Yeah, and it's not that you can fight every weekend. You have to consider the fighter safety and the training and everything that goes along with it. So it's very complicated, and it's not a very, very easy one to just kind of explain. Right. I can tell you that we're working on it. Yeah. And it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to need a lot of very smart individuals and very savvy businessmen to make this work, man, because it's a huge responsibility, man. But you know what? The NFL's doing it. They're doing an amazing job. Paying, the lowest paid athlete makes, is a couple mil, really, the lowest paid athlete on an NFL team.
It's crazy.
So it's all about branding, man, and that's what we're building right now. We're taking one step at a time. We're trying to really change industry, and we will, and with the support of Sheikh Khalid, man, there's really the sky's the limit, man. We can do whatever.
And then the last question that I had for you actually was something that like intrigued me when I thought about it, right? So like, I it's really confusing when you take into account all like you were talking about, like the regulations on this end and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like when it comes to Brave MMA, right? Is there something in place that's regulating fighters? Like, are you guys doing like your analysis and like having like standards that they have to meet, and who's monitoring and regulating all that?
So we have a commission that we've developed from the start, and actually Pete Williams, UFC Hall of Famer, was kind of the beginning of that developed and kind of set a foundation.
I think we're going to have him on next week too.
Great, yeah. Amazing guy. Super, super nice guy. He was able to kind of lay down a foundation about that. He's been around since the dark ages, right. So he knows what's needed to put a commission together. I helped with that as well. And so through the support of the royal family in Bahrain, we were able to have really good connections with the Olympic Committee.
Got it.
So they were able to kind of take over that part. We told them, okay, this is mixed martial arts. I mean, we started from zero with those guys.
From nothing to something.
Those guys didn't even know what MMA was. Yeah. Right? So we basically, what we did is we used a lot of the California regulations, because that we already have in place here in the state, that are above and beyond fighter safety. Like MRIs and EKGs and blood work. The suspensions and the laws for governing those, the laws and governing promotions. Because of course, I'm sure we're going to have another promotion pop up in Bahrain or in Saudi Arabia. So all these places. So yeah, we basically did that part, and then added some other stuff on top of that from our experiences as fighters as well. So yeah, there's a regulation that we use, and it's something that we follow to and everywhere we go. In Brazil, we're going to be using their local commission as well. So fighter safety is absolutely one of our big deals there. As well. Yeah.
And it's like you said, that's got to be the biggest thing. when it comes to the overall well-being of the fighter, comparing it to like an NFL athlete, as you have these different organizations that are falling under their different like laws of their land, essentially. Well,
exactly, yeah.
And that's got to be one of the biggest obstacles.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, that's what I meant with the regulations. Not the commission side of it, but more the laws. So like what governs these unions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That, dude, I have no idea how it would work here in the States with that, because I know it could be very tricky.
Yeah.
I need a lawyer. You know what I mean, for something like that.
Yeah.
But man, I'm telling you that for our milestone is to get fighters in that kind of place.
That'll definitely like put a huge dent in the game and the way it's set up right now. Because thinking about it, if there is an organization, no matter where it is, and fighters started hearing about it, that. Like, bro, if I go and fight for this organization, like, it's the same fucking thing, except I'm making the money that I should be making.
Right.
Because the truth is, the sad part about over here in the States, the promoters and all that, they're making all the fucking money, and the fighters aren't making anything. And I've every fighter I've had on this podcast, the biggest discussion point has been money. Like, I've had to turn down, like, they tell me that they've had to turn down fights because they're getting offered shit, I'm like, no, I'm not. The fuck, what is this? Like, something in place to, like, a set standard. Like, for instance, an NFL person, they wouldn't go to somebody and, like, they wouldn't go on the draft and be like, hey,
right,
you can play for the 49ers for $3,000 a year.
Yeah,
I mean?
Exactly.
That would never happen,
Right.
It's like, you're going to make money, So it's definitely a sport that's growing as well, and in time, I'm sure it'll get there. But man, I'd love to be a part of that, to make that happen. But I guess figuring it out is the big thing. Just figuring it out, in time.
I mean, well, what needs to happen is we need to start bringing in some serious returns, So. And we're doing that. We're slowly doing that, man. I mean, we're making some great network deals. We're with Brazil and Asia. I mean, we are changing already the landscape. We're changing the way the MMA athletes are being treated and looked upon. Another big part of that Brave does is we tell the story of the athlete. That's a huge. Our content is based on how they're doing and what they do. A lot of people don't know the sport. A lot of people around the world don't really understand. They still think it's just there's no rules and all that stuff. But man, it's we got a long way to go, and we're slowly building this team. We're slowly getting better every single time, and sooner or later we'll get there.
Well, shit, man. I'm excited to see where Brave goes from here. And tune in, guys. March 18th, Brave's going to be, what part of Brazil? Curitiba, Brazil. You got an exciting night of fights, and you can catch it on brave.com. Is what you said, bravemma.com?
Brave Fights.
Bravefights.com. You got any last plugs you want to give the people at home, man? Anything last thing?
No, just keep training and putting up some exciting fights, and we'll give you a call, man, when you're ready to go.
Hell yeah, you heard it here. Put up some exciting fights, hit them up. Hey, check out this fight, talk a little bit of shit, let them know what's up, hit them some tags, check me out, talk shit to somebody that you want to fight, make it happen, make them laugh. Next thing you know, you'll be on the fight card for Brave MMA.
That's right.
Hey, where can people follow you at? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Hit me up on Instagram at Soto Extremo. Or you can get with me on Twitter as well at Soto MMA, and just follow me on Facebook, man, if you guys are there.
Hell yeah, baby. Alex Soto, we love you. We appreciate you being on the show, man, once again. It was an incredible fight that you had last week, and I was so stoked to see you. I bought you a drink after and shit, you know? I was like, hey, I got to get you a drink,
Thanks,
you know?
man.
That was dope as fuck. I appreciate it. And we got to see
Tito Ortiz.
Tito Ortiz, yeah. My mind always goes blank. I don't know why it does that. I need more Alpha Brain. I think that's what it is. Tito Ortiz, I got to see him fight and retire, so that was really cool. It was really interesting. I had a blast. This was great, man. We'll have you on again. After this Brave event, we'll have you back on, and we'll talk about what's next and what's coming up next. Yeah. And Thanks a lot for being on the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Man. I appreciate it.
And those of you at home listening, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening online at Spreaker.com. As you know, From Nothing to Something, it's a podcast interviewing interesting people that are chasing a dream, trying to be successful in their specific thing that they do, whatever it is. But the whole thing is to inspire you, the listener, to understand that in order to go anywhere, you start from nothing to go somewhere, and everybody has to do it. Nobody's just given shit. And if you're given things, then you probably take it for granted. You're not going to do anything with it anyways. You have to work. You have to grind. If you're living the life that you fucking hate, it's your fault. No one else's. You have to go after the life that you want. Stop accepting the life that you were given. We love you guys. From Nothing to Something. We'll see you later.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah. From Nothing to Something, we're here. That's funny as fuck. We're here. Ah!